Welcome to Stand Up for the Week. What's happening, white people? You know, I'm the first ever Asian host of this show. Because we had John Richardson, Patrick Kilty, Kevin Bridges. So that's basically an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman. And now an Indian. Looks like they're getting their hosts from a man goes into a pub joke. Next, this is going to be presented with a horse with a long face. Or Paul Gascoigne. See, everyone has got their designated subject area on this show. I've got my own designated area. It's gangster shit. I'll talk about everything gangster on this show. I don't know if you've heard about this. A Greek gypsy couple have been accused of kidnapping a white baby. You hear about this? It's pure racism. I can see the resemblance with the family. You seen a picture of them? They look exactly like their parent. Look at this. I can't see a problem here. I think you took Just Do It way too seriously. Of course it's their baby. They got the receipt and everything. Channel 4 are playing a new series, My Big Fat Gypsy Abduction. A family of black people with one suspiciously white member. The last family to do that we'll call the Jacksons. See, when a gypsy family buy a white baby, there's an outcry. But when Madonna gets a black baby, she gets to keep the bastard. What you're essentially seeing here is the gypsy Angelina Jolie. It's confusing, though, because it's the thing, a lot of kids don't look like their parents. I look nothing like my parents. It's good news for young people in Pakistan this week, because now they've got their own versions of famous comic books. It's the first ever Pakistani comic book. And let's have a look at some of the other possibilities that they could do out there. I've been thinking about this. This is another version of Batman and Robin. That's Black Man and Robin. And I got this one. That's Bob the Burka. This is another one. This is Postman Pat L. You see, they've done this all over the world, you see. In Thailand, they've got their own version of X-Men. The Turkish man who invented the doner kebab has died. It's a terrible pitter, isn't it? Sorry, pity. It's a terrible pity. As soon as he died, they stuck a skewer up his ass and spun him around. If you heard about that, he'd be turning in his grave. Here's a picture of him in the coffin. They're not going to bury him, they're just going to chuck him in the road. Get pissed, mate. Chuck him in the road, Dave. I mean, obviously, don't joke about this because his family were absolutely gutted. He was very close to his nan. Any Boris Johnson fans in here tonight? You know, Boris Johnson said he's the only politician that believes in pro-immigration. Can you believe that? Of course he's pro-immigration. Do you know he's an immigrant himself? He comes from Twatvia. I found a very rare picture of Boris Johnson when he was a baby with his family. I don't know if you know about this. This is Boris Johnson when he was younger with his family. What's happening, white people? I'd like to wish everyone good luck this month, taking part in Movember. All of my friends are taking part. This is my friend this year. That's Rena. There's a lot of Asian girls out here taking part, I've seen. Looks like you've done a good job, love. Supposed to start yesterday, not last month. We're pretty hairy people, innit? I just shaved before I walked on. I mean, that's Ram. Ram says he spends 2 hours a day grooming. I'm surprised he's allowed anywhere near a school with a moustache like that. I don't know if you heard about twerking, right? Students in America have been made to sign a no twerking contract before going to the prom. It's a bit like what they've done in Liverpool, where kids have signed a no working contract. Have you seen that Miley Cyrus video? A really sexy one. Yeah, what's it called again? Hannah Montana. I mean, how are you going to ban twerking? If they really want to ruin their prom, they should just ban fingering. I remember my school disco. Someone had their ass in my face for hours. Mr. Pritchard. India has launched its first space program with a mission to Mars. It's being called the cheapest ever space program. It's a bit racist, isn't it? I feel sorry for the geezer at the front peddling. The Indian Space Agency says the rocket had been launched successfully. And that would have been a good conversation. Captain, how far are you from Mars? I'm just around the corner, 5 minutes. I'm just 5 minutes, boss. Everyone a good Halloween? It was Halloween this week, right? And people were wearing all kinds of costumes and going trick-or-treating. I was looking for a costume during Halloween. I went onto Amazon, and they sell gollywog outfits. I had to buy that shit just to take a picture of it. Forget a fancy dress party, more British national party. I mean, what kind of people buy this? And it gives you recommendations for the other things they bought. Customers who bought this also bought a swastika armband. Customers who bought this also bought a UKIP Nigel Farage baseball cap. Customers who bought this also bought a Jim Davidson DVD. Customers who bought this also bought a John Terry autobiography. I mean, like, last week, Michael Jackson's doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, has been released from prison after serving 2 years. Now he's out, why can't we get him a job looking after Justin Bieber? Or One Direction? All right, Conrad Murray might have killed a pop star, right? But just think about how many kids he saved. He did 2 years in prison, and he got a Lifetime Achievement Award from Childline. This week, Conrad Murray went out for Halloween. He went trick-or-treating, and he went dressed as Bubbles, Michael Jackson's chimp. The real Bubbles we ain't seen in years. You know, real Bubbles, Michael Jackson gave away Bubbles before he got too old. Because even Michael Jackson's chimps had to be underage. Bubbles wasn't affected by the whole lifestyle of Michael Jackson. He wasn't affected by all the fame and success. In fact, I found a very rare picture of Bubbles, how he's living today. It was very difficult for actually finding a picture of a white monkey. I don't know if anyone's ever Googled white monkey before. You know what white monkey means? It's actually a slang term. It basically means take a dump, jizz on it, and throw it at someone. That's a white monkey. Take a dump, choke one out, and chuck it at someone. Give him a white monkey, Dave. Or in my part of North London, that's called a first date. What's happening, white people? Having a good time? So, the Chinese police have set up cardboard cutouts of police cars on the motorway to stop people from speeding. How's that going to work? I suspect a white Ford Focus, last seen heading east. Do you copy? Yeah, I copy DVD, handbag, Rolex, police car. I copy everything. Here's the police car. It's a good copy. Miley Cyrus was pictured this week wearing a miniskirt, and she had the picture of Biggie and Tupac on her arse cheeks. Have a look at this. Let's have a closer look. That's Biggie and Tupac on her miniskirt. So if you know about gangster rap, that's East Coast, West Coast. And just like the rest of America, the middle is one big shithole. And you know who she's got on the front of that miniskirt? Muff Daddy. That's what's happening. I don't know if you heard about this week. Auditions were held for the new Star Wars film in Bristol. Right? What happened was Dave Prowse, the actor that plays Darth Vader, told local actors not to use the Bristolian accent because it will put people off. That's basically what he said. His direct quote was, "You can't go, "War, oi, me dear. Where's my lightsaber?" They should have more regional accents in Star Wars. I mean, it's obvious Luke Skywalker's from Essex. He doesn't know who his real dad is. It's probably Dave. He could be Cornish, though, Luke Skywalker, because in the first film, he tried to bang his own sister. Because you know what they say about accents, right? Apparently, 28% of Britons feel they've been discriminated against because of their accent. Do you know what I mean, mate? You got your translator with you, innit? That's the thing, because, you know, Stephen Hawking, right? He's got a very posh voice box accent. That's why you trust him. You know, Stephen Hawking had a more northern voice. No one would take him seriously, would they?
All right, it's the theory of relativity. We're just orbiting around an average star on a very minor planet inhabited by an average breed of monkeys.
And they also say that 22% of Britons admit to changing their accent when it comes to chatting up a girl. You know, like my gal. What do you say, rude gal? Pump your deal with, sir. See, usually when I chat up a woman, I pretend to be Jamaican. And she pretends to be a lesbian. I've been trying some online dating, right? And it came out this week that there's a Russian online dating site that I went on. And you should see some of the people on this site. Here's the first girl I found. At least she gets her 5 a day. That's Melanie. Look at this dude I found. His hobbies include exposing himself to ladders. And look at this tough guy as well. This guy's trying to get women. He's got a bandana on his face, knife strapped to his arm, and 2 swords. And a picture of a puppy behind him. I cut you up, I chop you to pieces, I murder you. But don't touch my puppy. I found this mermaid. Bottom half of a fish, top half of a dog. Here's another fine example as well. Look at this guy. What is going on with this geezer? He looks like he's guarding the shittest nightclub in Russia. Some weird doorman. I found this one. Sitting next to the love of her life, a microwave. Not so much a selfie, more of a left on the shelfie. What's happening, white people? You up for this tonight? So what's been happening this week? Google Earth has got a picture, right, of a housing estate in the West Country that some people say looks quite racist. Is there anything racist about this housing estate to you? I tried to get directions to this housing estate, and I was told to go to Devon, take a right again, take the next right, and it's just down there on the far right. So a man was thrown out of a Premier Inn hotel this week after putting a fire extinguisher up his arse. I know white people can't deal with the hot curry, but that's going too far. That curry's gone right through me, mate. You want a glass of water? No, where's the fire extinguisher, Dave? He was also racially abusing the Bangladeshi staff and fondling himself in front of the other guests. Even Lenny Henry doesn't enjoy a Premier Inn that much. Another story I heard this week, right? A British guy was attacked by a crocodile on a golf course in Mexico. At first, his mates didn't help him. They just thought he was wearing a massive Lacoste logo. His mate started kicking the crocodile, which made the crocodile even more angry because he recognised his uncle on his shoes. What's the problem? I mean, people just don't go near wild animals. I was on Instagram this week, right? And I saw these people in the Middle East who've got pet lions. And look at this idiot. I mean, I know if you got a cat, you're like, oh, look, the cat scratched my arm. If you got a lion, you're like, oh, look, the lion got pissed off. It's like the Middle Eastern version of You've Been Framed. Look at this man being eaten by a lion. But he just made £250. Join us on next week's You've Been Framed when Ahmed tries to fly a plane. There's massive reforms in China, right? Because now couples are allowed to have more than one child. It's great news. That's great news. Because more Chinese children can only mean one thing: cheaper trainers. Just think of all the Chinese midwives. Because the deliveries can be quite difficult. If they turn up late, you get free prawn crackers. This is a win-win situation. Because win-win is the most popular baby name in China. This week, a group of law students have been blacking up as Somali pirates at a fancy dress party. This is our future judicial system. Would you let these guys be your barrister, Dave? Yeah, you'd be fine, mate. Would you let these guys be your barrister? You get a parking ticket, you get life. You know, you never get any, like, black people whiting up. Doesn't work the other way around, does it? There's a reason black people don't white up. It doesn't look right. You know? Here's a picture of Barry Obama. Here's Mr. Afternoon Tea. And here's my favourite. I saw the new Lily Allen video. You seen this? Right. Lily Allen reckons that she's tackling racism and sexism in this video. How's she doing this? By filling it with half-naked black women. That's like trying to fight heart disease by opening up a KFC in Glasgow. I haven't seen the whole video, I just caught a little snatch. I mean, I don't want to say anything sexist, because I know there's a lot of women in this crowd tonight. I don't want to come across as sexist or anything, because I love women. Especially the pretty ones. The dances are seen pouring champagne over each other's asses, which is also how they make WKD. What's happening, white people? Let's start off with quite a light news story. Allegedly, 3 women were held for 30 years captive in a house in Lambeth. I mean, the worst thing about being a slave in Lambeth is when you're finally released, you realise you were in Lambeth. You are free. No, I think I'll stay for a couple more minutes. Apparently, there's 5,000 slaves in the UK, and I can't find a cleaner. The 3 women were Malaysian, English, and Irish. Sounds like a pub joke gone wrong. An English woman, an Irish woman, and a Malaysian go into a house. And they stay there for 30 years. Sounds like a bad knock-knock joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Shh, call the police. Shh, call the police. Who? Shh, call the police now, you bastard. I've been here for 30 years. Let's put this into perspective. They went to this house 30 years ago when there was a Tory government, a recession, mass unemployment, and Bruce Forsyth was on TV. Nice to see you, nice. I was going to do a couple of lines about Nigella Lawson. But she beat me to it. Don't know if you heard about this. Someone drove a VW Golf into someone's flat in Dudley. Look at the state of that. When that car smashed to the wall, they must have thought they were watching Fast and Furious 6 in 3D. These 3D glasses are wicked, mate. Special effects and everything. That flat actually belonged to a guy called Mamadou Diallo. It's a Nigerian name. He's lucky he wasn't a traffic warden. You come back here. That's my chair. That's my sofa. I must ring the office. I'm not supposed to be working from home today. The owner of the house actually went to check the rubble to see if he was okay, right? And he went into the rubble and found a false leg. It's ridiculous, isn't it? That's the problem with disabled drivers. They think they can park anywhere. See, but the thing is about this story, right? The story doesn't tell us who was driving that car. I just hope she's okay. Anyone from Essex? Yeah. Did you hear about the story this week? A wolf escaped from a zoo in Essex. I thought Essex only had cougars, the occasional fox, and a couple of heifers. Here's the wolf. Don't This ain't Twilight, love. You don't stroke it and kiss it. You don't stroke it and kiss it and it turns into a camp-looking straight man. He'll bite your face off. He's so Twilight, isn't he? No, he's a killer. Essex people were told to look out for a creature with massive teeth. Someone tried to shoot this animal. What's happening, white people? So Tom Daley has finally come out as being gay. Why did it take him so long to come out of the closet in the first place? Probably because he did a triple somersault and backflip. Perfect entry. The Daily Mail don't like Tom, but Tom does like a Daily Mail. He reassured all his female teenage fans that he still likes girls. You know, so all the little girls out there watching, don't worry, you're still in with a chance, as long as you look like a bloke. All these girls keep saying, you know what, all the good ones are gay, aren't they? Why all the good ones turn out to be gay? Why's all the nice good ones that turn out to be gay? Look at the state of you. You look like an extra at the Jeremy Kyle show. Why are the good ones gay? Because of you. They're not gay, they just tell you they are. Still, at least if he's gay, that's one less type of diving he has to practice. It's good he's come out, you know. Look, actually, I've got a confession to make. I'm going to do this on TV for the first time. It's actually very difficult to say this in front of all these people. I'm actually Indian. You haven't come out yet, have you? My parents are going to be very upset by this. They've got no idea I'm Indian. That's why my name's Paul. Actually, my dad will be very understanding. Son, don't worry. We don't care if you're Indian. As long as you're not a homosexual. A model is suing Match.com as her photo has been used on hundreds of profiles. See, that's the thing about internet dating. The great thing about internet dating is you meet people with the same interests as you. Yeah, lying bullshitters. You know, I joined a dating website, right? I joined this dating website, which I can't actually name for legal reasons. So let's call it Snatch.com. Here's my online dating profile. Oh, not that one, the other one. It's my online dating profile there. Here are some of the questions that I got asked online. Are you looking for a relationship? Yes, no, I'd rather not say. I mean, why are you on this website in the first place? That's like going to Toys R Us if you haven't got any kids. What are you doing here, mate? I'm here to look at the kids, toys. What sports do you enjoy? Long walks? That's a typo, isn't it? Dancing? Water sports? That's just taking the piss, mate. And if you don't know what water sports are, I'd rather not say. Describe your body type. Slender, athletic and toned, a few extra pounds, stocky, big-boned, jolly, I'd rather not say. How many euphemisms do you need for fat bastard? I mean, who's going to click I'd rather not say? How are you going to turn up on a date? On a crane? There's actually a website for just good-looking people, right? It's called goodlookingpeople.com. Anyone heard of it? You've heard of it, mate. You might have heard of it, you're not fucking on it. That's the thing about beautiful people. How bad is your personality if you still can't get a date if you're that good looking? I mean, look at this guy. You must have a great personality, innit? If you really want to see a website full of beautiful people, just go on a normal dating website after 10 pints. This company's actually, I heard about this, right? A company's invented an app for people who are fed up of explaining why they're single. It's called the Invisible Girlfriend app, right? And what the app does is it sends you voicemails, random gifts, random text messages so people think you've got a girlfriend. They've also invented an Invisible Boyfriend app, which doesn't phone you up, doesn't leave you gifts, doesn't send you random texts.
Hello. We all right? I just want to thank my cousin Paul for getting me on the show. I'm breaking boundaries here tonight, right? Because I'm an Asian guy. You're thinking, oh, he's going to be doing multicultural. He's going to be doing brown stuff. I'm not. Yeah? I'm doing sport. And tonight I want to talk about racism in sport, right? First issue up. This man, Yaya Toure, right? He plays for Manchester City. He got racially abused when he was playing for Man City against CSKA Moscow. And he said, if there's something that doesn't get done about this, then he's asking black players to boycott the World Cup in Russia. Now, I had no idea that Yaya Toure was a commander-in-chief of black players. Some of them might be making their own mind up. They're not stormtroopers, mate. And the thing is, I don't understand why that's a threat, saying that all the black players are going to boycott the World Cup. I mean, Russia don't have any black players. So what you're basically saying is, if your fans keep on being racist, we're going to give you the best possible chance of winning the World Cup. What the hell are you on about? Apparently, one of the sanctions against teams whose fans are racist is that your team can get relegated. Now, I don't know about you, but this gives me a cunning little plan. Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy shirts of teams that I bloody hate. For me, it'd be Man United, Chelsea, Three Bridges women's netball team. They know why. And then I'm going to turn up at one of their games in their shirts. I'm going to start monkeying it up. See if I can get them sent down. It's a great plan. But it's a little bit complicated for me because I'm actually brown. I'm worried that somebody's going to see me doing that and think, holy shit, they actually do that. I mean, the complicating factor of this is this. Gareth Bale. I mean, he actually looks like a monkey. That's the problem. And the issue that you've got here is you can never tell him, right? Because there'll always be a black player on the field. You can't go, and then go, no, mate, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to him. He actually looks like a monkey. I want to talk about Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson, he wrote a new autobiography. Imagine if the title, My Autobiography. Now, this is the second one of his books. It's the second book he's written. The first one was all sweetness and light. It was lovely. The second one, he's properly lost it, didn't he? It's like when you have the first book, I think the first book is like when you're at a work meeting, like an appraisal. Are there any problems? Well, there's a couple of issues, but I think everything's sort of all right. Not that bothered, to be honest with you. The second book is like him at his leaving do. He's a prick. She's a slag. He's been sleeping with her for 6 months, and Neil, when we were at that conference in Cardiff, I pissed in your milk, you arsehole. And the thing that I found really weird is that Fergie, he talks about David Beckham. I think Bex is a ledge. Right, he talks about David Beckham. He sold David Beckham, and what instigated the sale of David Beckham is David Beckham got a new haircut, and then he refused to take his hat off at the table, and then Fergie thought, no, I'm not having this, mate. You can piss off. Now, Ryan Giggs shagged his brother's missus, and he slept with another woman. He still plays for Man United. So basically, what that's telling me is, in Fergie's world, you can fuck around as much as you like, as long as you take your hat off when you do it. Thank you. I'm doing sports news. I want to talk about the first person I want to talk about is Hugo Lloris, the Tottenham goalkeeper. Got a knee to the head, got knocked unconscious. Here's a picture. Oh, shit, bruv. You just got murked. Got a knee straight through the head, yeah? Brad Friedel, the substitute Tottenham keeper, was watching it. Is what I think his reaction would have been. Have it, mate. He's thinking, come on, I'm going to finally get on. Yes, it's finally going to happen after all this time. The manager, Andre Villas-Boas, he said to him, are you okay to carry on? And he said, yeah, I'm absolutely fine, Mum. The medical staff, the manager, the referee, they all thought he should go off, but then he said he wanted to carry on. If you're in a situation where you've got to decide where somebody's got to carry on, the last person you ask in that scenario is the person that is technically dead. If you were a co-pilot on a plane, right, and the lead pilot fell unconscious, and instead of letting you take over, they just went, well, should we see if this guy wakes up from the coma? Right, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? If I got knocked unconscious before coming on here, they wouldn't make me carry on. They just give my glasses to Chowdhry. Sven-Goran Eriksson has written an autobiography. Can I be the first person to say who gives a shit? I've got no interest in what this guy's got to say about football, but the only thing that is quite interesting is who he's been banging. Right, that's the interesting bit. He's been playing it fast and loose with the dickie. They've wheeled out Ulrika Johnson to bask in the deflected limelight. She's on the phone waiting for the call. You can imagine just going, I'm back! It was reported, apparently, that Sven, in order to show off to Ulrika, said that he could beat up Fergie. Now, Fergie's a 70-year-old man, right? If it's true, basically, Sven is showing off about beating up a pensioner so he can get laid. Now, I've done a lot of things to impress a woman. I've bought her dinner, I've bought her flowers. What I've never done is slapped her granny. Ulrika said that having sex with Sven was like reading an IKEA instruction manual. Now, she's just picked that because he's Swedish, right? Talking about reverting to stereotypes. Thank goodness she didn't end up in a relationship with Krishnan Gurumurthy. I really enjoyed the way he dipped his poppadom in my chutney. Ulrika said, right, she would have got more satisfaction from putting up a bookcase than having sex with Sven. Now, I thought that was really weird until I saw the bookcase. Didn't even have to mock that up, that's just from my wife's closet. Manchester City players, right, have been given language packs, because so many of them are foreign. I don't know if you've seen this. They've been given language packs to help them understand English. Part of the advice in these language packs was for them to watch children's television programmes, CBeebies. What a damning indictment of the English-speaking players at Manchester City, that instead of having a conversation with them to learn the language, it's better to watch In the Night Garden. Apparently, for those that find it too challenging, they've just been told to watch Towie. Apparently, Joleon Lescott kicked off when Sergio Aguero was using English that he'd just learnt from Rastamouse. Irie, man, I'm going to be taking a free kick, you bumber ass. In the Night Garden, right, it's got characters in it like Macapaka and Ninky Nonk. Now, in these racially charged times, I don't think we should be throwing around terms like that. I reckon that's why Suarez got into trouble. Offside, ninky nonk. You fucking what, mate? So the jockey, AP McCoy, has been called the most successful sportsman of all time because he has won 4,000 races. First of all, can we just accept that it's the horses that win the race, right? If anything, the jockeys are making it more difficult. Can't imagine Usain Bolt halfway through the 100 metres going, do you know what? This would be a lot easier if I had an angry midget piggybacking on me right now. I mean, AP McCoy, he's been winning. He's been winning all of these races, yeah? But he's been winning on horses. Good horses. You want to show me how good you are, mate? Turn up on a goat. You see the jockey's like jumping and whipping. I just want the horse to turn around and go, do you know what, mate? This would be a lot easier if you just fucked off. Can you do me a favour? Can you just assume that from now on, I am going as fast as I can? Is that all right? The horse cannot win without the jockey, but it's much easier. But the horse is not allowed to win without the jockey. Can you imagine how he would feel? He's beaten everyone in the race. He crosses the line. He's absolutely smashing. He goes, yeah. Oh, fucking hell, he fell off. All he had to do was hold on, the prick. And he couldn't even manage that. What an arsehole. So much hard work for a jockey. The biggest achievement of being a jockey is keeping your weight down. Losing weight, getting lighter. You're trying to be as light as possible. How heartbreaking has it got to be for you as a jockey? No matter how light you get, you will never be as good as if you just weren't there. It's actually better for you to call in sick. The England cricket team have been in the news. The Ashes are coming up and people are looking at me thinking, well, Romesh, what team do you support? Well, I'm originally Sri Lankan. My parents are Sri Lankan, right? But I was born and bred in England. So what I say to you is I proudly support any team that happens to be winning at the time. That's... I mean, I'll be honest with you, I can even support Australia if I want. The England cricket team have sent through an 82-page menu booklet to the chefs in Australia, right? They've got quinoa, tofu, mung bean, and the Australian cricket team are getting all excited about this because they reckon they can take the piss. I think this is Australian cricket team missing a trick here, because if you want to take the piss out of the England cricket team, there are far more obvious things that you can take the mickey out of. For example, the fact that half the team are South African, right? I mean, I'm all for being inclusive, but it's a bit embarrassing when you see the interview, isn't it? I am extremely proud to be playing for England, and I cannot wait to go back to Johannesburg and talk to my family about how proud I am. When I was growing up, it was always my dream to play for my country, and that didn't work out. England are definitely the favourite of my second choices. I mean, you can't blame us for sending a menu across to the Australians in advance. I mean, their culinary skills are hardly renowned, are they? The two most famous contributions they've made are the barbecue and the bush tucker trial, right? The Australians, they think it's going to give them loads of verbal ammunition. They think they're going to give it some to England on the pitch, right? As if they found their weakness by taking the mickey out of the food. I mean, it's all a bit petty, isn't it? Right? I mean, it's hardly 8 Mile. Do you know what I mean? You're in the pavilion, yamming on some mung bean while I'm round your parents' house, flicking on your mum's bean. Munching on tofu so you won't put on flab while your missus enjoys my spicy lamb kebab. How much of a pussy are ya? I would say very, but you won't get cystitis because you're drinking cranberry. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about David Haye. David Haye has pulled out of his big comeback fight with Tyson Fury because he's hurt his shoulder. Oh dear, David. To prove it, he's tweeted a hospital selfie. Oh, look at him. Bless him. He's basically done that as proof. That's proof of his injury. That's the equivalent of one of us going, I can't make it in today. I'm feeling really rough, man. I can't do it. It's the second time he's done this. He pulled out of the first one because of a gashed eyebrow. This is basically like, you know when you arrange to meet up with someone for a drink and you don't really like them? So you set the date up for 3 months' time. And then when the day's approaching, you just sort of pull out at the last minute. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what I do. Right, I've cancelled so many lunches with people because my kids are ill that I actually got a call from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I don't know if you're aware of this. David Hay does not allow himself to have sex for 6 weeks before a fight. And now he's retiring, he can do it whenever he wants. And what this also means is that, I've been married for 3 years, which technically means I am always prepared for a boxing match. People describe David Hay as a personality boxer, but I sort of think he's benefited from the fact that there's sort of a lack of personalities in boxing. It's not like it used to be. Like, we used to have, like, Chris Eubank. I'm more than a pugilist. I don't understand. Why is this man talking about my mother? They have Mike Tyson, which is basically the same as Chris Eubank, but American. I'm a pugilist. Why is this man talking about my mother? He had a real personality, right? He had a real personality. He said things like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that's pretty much true, isn't it? As I found out when I told my grandmother that I was planning on marrying a white woman. Mike Tyson this week has brought out an autobiography. Mike Tyson is so batshit crazy that he got a face tattoo, and that's probably one of his better life decisions, right? He fought while he was on drugs, it turns out. He fought while he was on drugs, but that drug was marijuana. So all this time that Mike Tyson is behaving like that, he was chilled out, right? What the hell would it have been like if he sobered up? The man that bit off Evander Holyfield's ear was chilled out. He just had the munchies. So, the England football team, this week they've lost to both Chile and Germany. It's hard being an England fan, right? It's hard being an England fan, because 1 minute you think you're going to win the whole thing, and the next minute we think we're the absolute shittest thing ever. Do you know what I mean? I go, what the hell are you doing, Rooney? He's crap, isn't he, Rooney? I told you, he's crap. Rooney, you're crap, Rooney. Rooney! 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 I told you, mate, he's a legend! First of all, right, supporting England is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing, right? Because the only thing worse than leaving your Christmas decorations up too long is leaving an England flag up too long outside your house. Do you know what I mean? You're definitely sending a message to your neighbours, aren't you? England flag 2 days after the tournament, national pride. 2 weeks after the tournament, national front. Right, The newspapers are up in arms because apparently the hotel that England are staying in Brazil is rubbish, right? Football players are paid so much, I'm glad they're staying in a shithole, right? But the thing is, let's be honest, the England team's idea of a shit hotel is going to be very different to yours and mine, isn't it? I can't imagine John Terry is going to have to knock on the door at 10:30 p.m. to be let in by the night porter. They're never going to have to suffer the horrible feeling that you get when the breakfast is included and you go downstairs and you find out it's continental. They're not going to do what I do, which is where I take the little bottles of shampoo and then I pretend to my wife that I got her a present. Little sachet of something, darling. The toaster. You know the toasters that they've got at hotels? They must absolutely baffle England players. I don't know what's going on here. John Terry, I don't know what's going on. I put the bread in, it's white. Disappears for 2 minutes. It's brown. It's like my worst nightmare. I want to talk about the cricket. England got whipped in the cricket. They got whipped in the first match of the Ashes. I have been so embarrassed by the English performance, I'm actually pretending to people that I'm an Aborigine. Right, that's... I don't have to nail my flag to your mast, white people. Right? It's got to the point now where the best chance of an English victory in Australia is Joey Essex. And that is quite depressing, right? I don't know if they're cricket fans in, but the problem is, because the Ashes are being played in Australia, right, you have to watch it overnight. You have to sit and watch it through the night. There's nothing darker than me sitting in my living room, in my underwear, in the middle of the night, eating a pot noodle. Yeah? But now I can watch cricket while I do it. So it's... I mean, the England performance has been so embarrassingly bad that when I've been watching it and my wife comes downstairs to see what I'm doing, I flick it to Babe Station and pretend I'm having a wank. There's been controversy about sledging. Now, I don't know if you know what sledging is, but sledging is a nice word for abuse. Basically, it's where the cricketers are having a go at each other, giving each other a shitload of banter, and they just call it sledging. I mean, you can't just give it a nice word, and that's all right. It wouldn't be all right in football if the goalkeeper called the striker a black bastard and then just went, "It's all right, mate, I was just tobogganing." I didn't mean anything by it. I mean, they've got Hawkeye, they've got the snickometer, all of this stuff. I reckon they should just let us hear the sledging. It's really interesting. I think you should be able to watch it on the red button, just hear what's going on. Right, because in a football match, they've just got 90 minutes. They've got 90 minutes to abuse, so it'd just be, "Oh, I shagged your wife." Right? Cricketers, they've got days, right? Day 1, I shagged your wife. Day 2, and she made me dinner. Day 3, and she made me dessert. Day 4, dessert was your mum. I mean, part of the reason that people, I think, don't give a shit about the Ashes, or some people don't give a shit about the Ashes, is because of the size of the trophy, right? Look at this trophy. That is a joke. You're supposed to be able to drink champagne out of it. You could barely get a Jaeger bomb out of that. I mean, that is not a trophy. That's a trophy. That's the Golf World Cup. You can get in that. There's massive news in the world of rugby, obviously, and you'll all have heard about it. Ben Cohen is out of Strictly Come Dancing. That's the big news. Now, what I find most upsetting about rugby players is the fact that they go on to do Strictly afterwards. Like, what is going on during a ruck where you think, do you know what? I think I'm going to take these skills and apply them to the foxtrot. I think this is the way forward. Ben Cohen, he danced topless. Look at that tall glass of vanilla goodness. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This pissed me off, right? Because I'm watching this in the living room with my wife. I don't want to be made self-conscious in my own house. Do you know how self-conscious I am? I'm so self-conscious about my appearance that one day I woke up in the morning, I went to the bathroom, I looked at myself in the mirror, I went back to the bedroom and apologised to my wife for my appearance. She accepted my apology. I mean, personally, I don't want to see good-looking guys doing Strictly. I want to see guys like this doing Strictly. Boom. Then I feel better about myself. I mean, gorgeous sportsmen are messing up my home life. For example, my wife is obsessed with David Beckham. She thinks he's gorgeous, but actually he's not. I'm here to share this with you. The only reason people think he looks gorgeous, the only reason that women think David Beckham is gorgeous is because he hangs around with ugly people. Right, think about it. He's always with Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, started hanging out with Prince William. He's not looking so hot these days, is he? Yeah, the bloom's come off that rose. Like, for example, look at this picture of Bex. Does he look hot? Now, don't be fooled. The only reason he looks hot is because I'm standing next to him, right? Watch this. Boom. So, your sports news this week. Rory McIlroy won his first tournament of 2013 in the golf. Here he is. Looking very happy about it. I'm very glad that he's won a tournament, right? Because this means he won't be doing any more of those bloody Santander ads. Have you seen these adverts? It's the creepiest bloody advert I've ever seen in my life. Right, basically, for those of you that haven't seen it, there's some people just in their house. Jessica Ennis, Jensen Button, Rory McIlroy just turn up. And then they've got a pet normal person to hang out with. And they're giving them financial advice. They're trying to be normal people. I tell you what, Jensen, if you want me to treat you like a normal person, how about you don't turn up at my house in full Formula One gear, you mental? You look like you just escaped from a home, right? And these people don't even react. They're getting financial advice from sports people. I've been in a situation where I've been sitting in my home, Rory McIlroy turns up with an apple, and you think, oh, hello there, Rory. This is a stroke of good luck, isn't it? I was just sitting here thinking, I wish I could get some financial advice from someone who doesn't have a fucking clue what they're on about. And here you've turned up. Isn't everything coming up rosy? Rory McIlroy turned up at my house, I wouldn't think, please, could you tell me which bank account I should open? I would think, oh my God, my wife is fucking Rory McIlroy. The only way that advert could get worse for me is if I came downstairs and John Terry was sitting on my sofa with my dressing gown on. All right, mate. I mean, the reason that people say that Rory McIlroy went off the boil is because he changed his golf equipment. He got this Nike deal for 78 million. And people are saying he shouldn't have done it because he's become a bit rubbish. But he got 78 million pounds. Who gives a shit if he got a bit crapper? Right? I wouldn't give a crap. To put this into context, a couple of years ago, for a tenner, I tongue-kissed a mate. Think about what I would do for 78 million pounds. Right? For 78 million quid, I don't give a shit if it takes one more stroke to get me closer to the green. I don't give a shit. I've got 78 million pounds. I'm going to buy a dolphin. Right? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand golf. I don't get the appeal of it, right? You're sort of walking around hitting shit occasionally. My big issue with golf is, right, how expensive it is to get into. I don't understand how you get into golf. You've got to buy all the equipment. It's so expensive. You can play football in the street. You don't see people playing golf in the street, do you? I mean, where I grew up, people did have golf clubs. But they usually had them in one of their hands as they're walking towards me complaining about immigration, right? Tiger Woods is the other golfer, right? That he's got a huge Nike deal and he caused controversy because he was shagging around. Yeah? Tiger was on the prowl. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? No? Okay. Nike didn't drop him when he did this. They didn't drop him. Of course they didn't. Because why would they care, right? Golf is like one of the most male-centric sports around. Some golf clubs, women aren't even allowed to join. You think these guys are going to give a crap if Tiger Woods is shagging around? They're going to think it's amazing. I can't imagine someone down the golf club with all the lads going, do you know what? I actually think it's absolutely disgusting. The way that Tiger Woods is going around shagging all these hot women, I think it's morally deplorable. And I don't think I'll be associating myself with any of Tiger Woods' products. They don't want to think that. They're going to think he's a ledge. How impressive is that? They were so impressed by Tiger Woods' behaviour in the world of golf, they nearly forgave him for being black. Andre Villas-Boas is a Tottenham manager. He's been getting a bit sensitive because Alan Sugar apparently had a pop at him, he's had a pop back. But what Alan Sugar said, what he actually said was, I'd quite like it if Alex Ferguson was Tottenham manager. Now, Alex Ferguson was possibly the greatest manager of our time. It's not an insult to Andre Villas-Boas to say that he wouldn't mind if he was the manager. It'd be like me getting angry because my wife says that she wants to shag Ryan Gosling. Now, I'm not bringing a lot to the table. If my wife had the opportunity to shag Ryan Gosling, I'd say to her, go ahead, love. Fill your boots. As long as I can have a go on him afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Sports. I've been Romesh, Ranganathan. Thank you. Good night.
Hello. How you doing? You all right? You having fun? It's nice to be here. My name's Angela. I am going to be talking to you about first world problems. If you don't know what that means, I'll explain to you. What it means is basically these are the news stories. Probably wouldn't bother you all that much if you lived in Syria. These are the news stories for people who haven't got enough to worry about, basically, is what I'm going to be talking to you about. So the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight is Jeremy Hunt. I was so careful how I said that. Jeremy Hunt has had an idea. I know, who knew? He's had an idea because he thinks that our old people are too lonely, right? And he's right. And he's got an idea to combat that. Unfortunately, his idea to combat loneliness is to give them iPads. Right, now, I don't know who she is. This is generic old lady with an iPad. I thought she looked quite sweet. I've called her Dorothy. I thought she looked quite sweet. Then I thought, I don't know what she's looking at. And I don't know what her other hand's doing. Dirty Dorothy. When I first saw the headline, right, I got quite excited. It just said iPads for old people, right? I thought it was a straight swap. And I mean, really, is an iPad really an old person's priority at the moment? Do you know what I mean? We're in times of fuel crisis, right? Maybe if they pre-installed it with one of those apps with the log burning thing on it, you know, to give the illusion of a bit of warmth, maybe. I don't know. And presumably they're going to post these iPads out to old people, right? And they're going to get them through the door, and not all of them are going to know what they are. I just see these old people having conversations with each other. Did you get one of those iPads? Yeah, I did. Have you tried it? Yeah, I have, yeah. Not as absorbent as the tenor lady, are they? I mean, I'm not saying that all old people are too stupid to use an iPad, right? I'm just saying that for every Silver Surfer, there's going to be 5 old ladies pissing on them. That's all I'm saying. Because I gave my old iPad to my nan to use, right? And she's picked it up pretty well, to give her a due. I helped her get onto Facebook, right? And that's quite fun in itself, right? But it's a bit sad because Nan's in her 90s, right? So I got her on it. She only had 3 friends. And then 2 friends. Then 1 friend. Then no friends. But Nan was well happy. She thought she'd won Facebook. Her status updates are quite fun. Is that Nan poked Mabel. Mabel didn't respond. Nan phoned ambulance. But I've got my Nan using Skype, right? That was quite fun. She's quite good at it, right? But I don't like Skyping my Nan because it worries me, right? Because I can't always be sure whether Skype's buffering or she's having a stroke. The next story I want to talk to you about is something that's a recurring theme, I think, in first world problems, and that is the theme of obesity. And the story this week involves doctors and the fact that research has shown that doctors being impolite to obese people makes them more likely to run for the biscuit tin, right? Well, at least they're running. Hey. Just say, let's just move the biscuit tin further away. But GPs have been told, right, that they have to tell their patients that they're overweight in a more positive way, right? Something along the lines of, congratulations, Mrs. Davis, you have the highest blood sugar level that this practice has ever seen. And it's not the doctor's fault, is it, if overweight people can't handle the truth? It's like, doctor, are you calling me fat? So, well, we are having this consultation in Burger King. I have a lot of weight issues. About 3 years ago, I lost about 42 pounds, right? Now, anywhere else in the world, that would have got an instant standing ovation. Oh, well, thank you. I'm getting one, look at that. Thank you very much. That's very unusual. Usually in Britain, you just get, what, fat bird stops putting cake in her mouth for 5 minutes. What, she want a medal? That's what you usually get. My mum was the worst, right? She phoned me up when I was on the diet. She phoned me up to see how it was going, right? And it was just before Christmas, 2010. And she said, how's the diet going? And I said, it's good, thanks, Mum. I bought a new pair of jeans today, size 12. So she went, oh. She said, your Christmas present's an 18. Then rather than say, it's all right, I kept the receipt, she said, oh, you'll grow back into it. Thing is, she was bloody right. But recently, though, right, good news for us comfort eaters. Overeating has now been classified as a new mental disorder. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, yeah? It's called binge eating disorder, right? Which basically, it's like bulimia for people who don't like the sicky bit. That's what it is. It's what people used to call being a greedy pig. And, you know, it's sad because people who binge eat, we're often quite low and depressed, and I'm pretty sure calling us mentally ill isn't going to alleviate that. Right? It's like, yes, you are now fat and mental. Yeah. Here, have a straitjacket. Good luck getting the lid off the Quality Street tin now, fatso. You're too kind. How you doing? You all right? So I'm Angela, and I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, if you don't know what first world news is, it's news for people who are probably more worried about fixing up their house in a recession than losing their house in a tsunami. So my first story is a prime example of some first world news. Right, that this week, we found out that there's going to be a global shortage, ladies and gentlemen, of almonds. That's not it. And goat's cheese. Oh, wait for it. And olives. I know, it's worse than the Blitz, this, isn't it? It's like, Waitrose are going to have to start issuing ration books. Before we know it, we're going to be queuing for powdered hummus. Fuck's sake. And no almonds. Well, I grew up in Maidstone in the 80s. I didn't know what an almond was until I was 24. Because online, people have been complaining because stocks have run out of Green and Black's organic almond bars. Tell me when we've run out of Kit Kats, then I'll give a fuck. Now, the olive shortage I can live with, right? I am not worried about the olive shortage if it means that we can all just stop pretending now that we like olives. Right? I'm right, aren't I? Nobody does. Nobody. Some of you might say you like olives. You are lying to yourselves. That's what you're doing. Right. A spokesman said that olives have a pleasant, sour taste. A pleasant, sour taste. That's an oxymoron, isn't it? It's like Fun Run. Or Sky News. Olives, they're just one of those things that we have to learn to love because we're grown-ups, right? It's like olives, it's like alcohol or stepchildren, right? Now, as if that isn't bad enough, right? As if that isn't bad enough, this week I read this, right? That apparently, in 2 years' time, there will be a global shortage of wine. Global shortage of wine. I think I'd be less distressed, right, if I knew that a meteor was going to hit in 2 years. Like, at least then I could drink wine to forget about it. Do you know what I mean? And I can't understand how we've got into this situation. I mean, Keith Floyd's been dead for 4 years, right? I mean, there are certain situations, aren't there, where wine is just irreplaceable. Nothing else will do. You can't take Holy Communion with Vimto. Imagine being in a posh restaurant, right, and the wine waiter comes up to you. I see, madam, you've ordered the steak tartare. May I recommend the Blue Wicked? Right, it's not the same, is it? It's not the... In 2010, right, Spain had an excess of 3.4 billion litres of wine. 3 years later, nothing. Where the fuck has that gone? Is that where the loose women go for their Christmas parties? Is that it? But it's okay, because I think I've got a solution to this. I think I have a solution to the wine shortage problem, right? We need to do 3 things. First, we need to stop wine tasters spitting it out. Right? That is wasteful. Unless they're going to spit it directly into my mouth. Number And two, we've got to stop people cooking with it. Right? It is a way. Alcohol evaporates when you cook with it, right? What's wrong with a slur? It's like watering your plants with Volvic. It's a waste, right? And finally, we have to stop Lidl selling cheap wine to poor people. Right? They don't need it, they've got cider. Next on the first world news is something that we're a little bit obsessed with in this country. We're a little bit obsessed with all the new beauty fads that come out. Has anyone here had a fish pedicure? Yeah! Give me a cheer if you put pictures of it on Facebook. Yeah! Right, I mean, I can't log on to Facebook without seeing somebody's manky feet being nibbled by fish. Right? Next time somebody does it, I swear to God, I'm going to their Facebook wall and I'm going to post a picture of me having a bikini wax. Let's see how they bloody well like it. But just when you thought that things couldn't get any more mental, right, now people are voluntarily having something called eel exfoliation, right? They are voluntarily immersing themselves in baths of these fellas. Yeah. That is not a beauty treatment, that is a bush tucker trial. Right, and they're dangerous as well, right? It's dangerous. Gentlemen in the room, you might want to get a tissue ready for this bit. I mean, because it's going to make your eyes water, it's not arousing. Right? Or it might be, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. But either way, be prepared, right? Because there's a man in China, Zhang Nen, he had this eel exfoliation treatment done, right? And this is what he said. He said, I climbed into the bath and I could feel the eels nibbling my body. But then suddenly I felt a severe pain and realised a small eel had gone into the end of my penis. I don't know about you, my first thought was, how flaky was your cock? Hello, how you doing? You all right? I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, that is the news for people who don't have enough to worry about in their lives, right? It's the news for people less concerned about car bombs in Damascus and more concerned with car parking in Asda's. Right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about today is the marketing profession have come up with a new demographic recently, right? Now, this demographic is known as the PANK. It stands for Professional Auntie No Kids. Right, now, I think I'm one of those because I don't have any children. Right? I'm 37, I don't have any children. I do have a lot of godchildren. Right, in fact, I've got so many godchildren, I'm starting to think I might actually be God. So I've only got one actual nephew, but I've got a lot of kids that call me auntie, right? So I am a professional auntie, no kids. I mean, I say professional auntie, no kids. I'm yet to receive any payment. I don't know about you, right? But something's happened along the way to being 37. Let this be a warning to any young women in the room. I have stopped getting paid for babysitting. And the worst thing about babysitting as a woman of my age is that when the dad gives me a lift home afterwards, he doesn't even try and fill me up. That's what they actually... I think by professional auntie, no kids, what they mean is that I've got a job, right? So I've got a disposable income that I can use to spend on these children. I suppose what it really is a working auntie, no kids, but they can't really call it that for obvious reasons. And what about the professional uncles, no kids? Why are they not a thing, right? The punks. Where are they? Then I thought about it. I thought, actually, the word uncle, when you're not talking about a blood relation, it has a few connotations, doesn't it? Yeah. It's either a bit creepy or it's the man who's fucking your mum. But there's loads of us panks around now, right? Because the number of childless women in Europe is on the rise, right? In Germany at the moment, they're throwing money at the problem, trying to boost the birth rate. And, because I don't know if I want children, or not, right? But I have to start thinking about it because I'm getting on a bit, and a friend of mine suggested that I could get my eggs frozen, right, to try and prolong my fertility a little bit. Now, I thought about it, and then I thought, do you know what? When you freeze things, they go a bit shit, don't they? It's like, do I really want my children to be the human equivalent of a ready meal? I'm not sure that I do. And also, when you freeze things in the freezer, right, they've got a tendency, haven't they, to all sort of clump together. Right? I can't get this image out of my head of some lab technician just whacking a bag of my eggs on the side like frozen peas. Right? And then when that doesn't work, getting a knife in, like between two burgers. What if there's a power cut in that thing, right? That is a lot of pressure on a woman to use all those eggs within 24 hours of being defrosted. And about when little Findus and Sarah Lee go off to school? And they're getting taught about the birds and the bees? Are they just going to get taken into a separate room and get told Mum went to Iceland? I don't think so. Yeah, it's worrying. It's worrying having children in these times, you know. And then they get older, of course, and they're teenagers with mobile phones. Well, that's a whole different danger, isn't it? That's because there's a rise, right, a huge rise in teenagers sending explicit pictures to each other online and on their phones via mobiles, right? Teenage boys no longer get erections, they get pop-ups. Part of me does think, like, whatever happened to writing someone a nice poem on the back of a fag packet and putting it in their school bag? Do you know what I mean? I think today, if a teenage girl received a poem, that would creep her out more than a picture of a cock. She'd be like, yeah, he sent me this thing. It was like a song, but it wasn't a song. What, and there wasn't a cock in it? No, not even a bollock. It was weird. I think it's only a matter of time as well. It's only a matter of time before the phone companies realise the scope of sexting, right? And they're going to start using it as part of their ad campaigns. Now, I don't know about you, but I, for one, am not looking forward to seeing Kevin Bacon sending pictures of his knob in the middle of Coronation Street. But it does have its upsides, I think, sexting. It does have its upsides. I think we worry too much about it. I mean, you know a guy's a keeper if the picture he sends you has to go across 2 text messages. And the only viruses you're going to pick up from sexting and online Skype sex are computer viruses. And Irish girls won't have to travel all the way to England to delete their history, if you know what I mean. So many teens are having their first sexual experiences, right, online, on Skype or similar things, like in their bedrooms on their own. And I just think, you know what? Being fingered behind a caravan by someone who worked at the fair isn't ideal, right? But at least I was getting fresh air. How you doing? You all right? I'm Angela. I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. If you don't know what the first world news is, that's basically, it's the news for people that don't have enough to worry about in their lives, right? Or, as they're also known, Daily Mail readers. So the first story that I want to talk to you about today is that Harrods have released their range of Christmas hampers, and the top of the range one will set you back a mere £20,000. Right, yeah, but don't fear, don't worry, Aldi have come to the rescue. Oh yeah. You've got to love Aldi. Aldi have come up with their version for £545, right now. And the papers are saying Aldi, therefore, have saved you £19,500. No, they haven't. I was never going to spend 20 grand on a hamper, right? That money is not now in my bank account. Oh, it's all right, Mum, I got the Aldi once and now I can go to university. It doesn't work like that, does it? And also, £545 for a hamper from Aldi, right? Surely, if you spend £545 in Aldi, you now own Aldi. That hamper doesn't come in a basket, it comes in a branch of Aldi. Apparently the price of Christmas puddings has gone up by 125% in the last 12 months, right? I had a feeling things were getting a bit tight last year when my mum, instead of putting a coin in the Christmas pudding, put in an IOU. Luckily, Heston Blumenthal and Waitrose have come to the rescue. They've got an alternative Christmas dessert for us. Here it is. It's a strawberry and lychee frozen gatto. Yeah, Heston, nothing says Christmas like a frozen lychee, does it? Look at it, looks like a Viennetta in a sleeping bag. Too much going on. And there's too much going on. It's too busy. It's like, it looks like a cross-section of a cliff from a geography textbook. Too many flavours going on in there. Look at all the different colours and that. I'll tell you what, it looks like it's been made at the Great British Bake Off ADHD special. The the Oxford English Dictionary has this week announced its 2013 Word of the Year, right? Now, the Word of the Year is supposed to reflect the zeitgeist, what's going on in society, right? American dictionaries have it as well, a Word of the Year. Last year, the US Word of the Year was hashtag. And the year before that, it was Occupy, right, because of all the Occupy protests. Incidentally, Occupy has been the word of the year in Israel since 1948. So, the Oxford English Dictionary had a shortlist, right, for this year's word of the year. Now, the shortlist, it included bedroom tax, right, fair enough, and twerking, right? Now, twerking makes me feel a bit icky. That going in the Oxford English Dictionary, it's a bit like when your mum says totes amazeballs. It's not right, is it? But the winner of the word of the year for 2013 is selfie. Right, there we go, that's the winner. Now, when I first heard the word selfie, I don't know about you, but I thought it was a euphemism for masturbation. Right? And I should probably have checked that before I posted one on Facebook. Just give you a second to get that image out of your head. Now, selfies crop up everywhere. They do crop, especially on dating websites, I've found. Now, I don't know about you, I won't engage with anyone on a dating website who has a selfie as a profile picture, right? Because all that says to me is that you are so sad there was nobody in your life who could have taken that picture for you. Not even your support worker. But selfies with friends could be fun. They don't have to be a solo thing. Have a look at these two girls larking about. Oh, aren't they having fun? Look at them, it's brilliant. Just a little word of warning, right? Before posting your selfie, it's probably best to check the background. Yeah, man, I'm in shit. There we go. Brilliant. Amazing. Now, before I go, I've got a special treat for you, because I had a little look on the internet for the best selfie I could find, right? And I went onto Instagram, and this is genuinely what I found, and you're so lucky, right? Because here, ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies, is our esteemed host, Mr. Paul Chowdhry. Oh, look at that. Ladies in the room dripping like broken fridges. It's amazing. Look at that. Even I'm turned on and I'm racist. It's weird, isn't it? Look at that. I have got to get me one of those. That is... so I think it's a Samsung. Look at it. Yeah. Actually, before I came out here, right, I did catch a member of the crew masturbating over that picture. Yeah, it was Paul. If anyone's interested, he's going to be in the bar having a drink after the show. So yeah, I'm Angela. I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, the first story I want to talk to you about today is it's to do with middle-aged men. Right, I can see one or two of you in the room, so put your ears up. Apparently, testosterone replacement therapy has become really popular among middle-aged men in the UK. Right now, presumably where testosterone is replaced with, I don't know, cocaine, leather trousers and no self-awareness. But obese and unfit men all over the country are pumping themselves with testosterone to try and, as a quick fix, to sort of bulk up their muscles and improve their virility and all that. And I don't know, I just think, what's the obsession with older men clinging onto their libidos? Right, like Dean Gaffney clinging onto celebrity. It's embarrassing. Right, it's just let it go, give us all a rest. Like, the last thing we need in this world is dirty old men who are actually able to act on it. And of course, there is a danger that you can inject too much testosterone, you can go over the top and end up looking ridiculous. Right, who knows, maybe that's what happened here. Men, is that really what you want to look like? Is that like Phil Mitchell had a baby with Gollum and abandoned it in the woods? I'll tell you what, for a man who's banned homosexual propaganda, that looks a lot like a Grindr profile picture to me. And apparently more and more men in the UK are having plastic surgery than ever to try and look younger. Right now, I don't know that really works. I don't know if I've ever been convinced by plastic surgery. It's like, yes, you do look like a younger person, but you look like a younger person that's been in a terrible fire. Now, in other first world news this week, David Cameron has announced his plans will come into fruition next year, whereby adult content on the web will be blocked unless you opt in. Right, so give me a cheer if you're going to opt in. Of course you are. And if you don't opt in, what will happen basically is that if you Google search explicit terms, you won't get links to explicit websites, right? So, for example, I've tested the filters. Now, if you Google wet pussy, get that. If you Google big hard cock, get that. And if you Google massive twat... I thought you'd like that one. Now, apparently, each household in Britain is going to be sent a letter, and on the letter there'll be a form that you have to return, right, if you want access to pornography. That is going to be the fastest returned form that has ever been seen, isn't it? Moira Stewart's not going to have to hide in your downstairs cupboard to remind you about that one, is she? And I imagine if you're Catholic, you could always opt in and then just opt out at the last minute. Now, I know it's important, right? I know it's important to protect children, right? I get that. I understand that. But I just can't help but feel sorry for the dads. You know what I mean? Yes, we're protecting our child's childhood, but at the same time, you're ruining that adult's adulthood. I mean, pornography can be damaging for children, sure, but not as damaging as walking in on your dad hunched over a laptop. Now, my dad, I had a very, very liberal, laid-back sort of upbringing. My dad, this is genuinely true, my dad worked in a sex shop, which was fine, that wasn't a problem, until it came to take your daughter to work day. No girl should ever have to do a dildo stock take with her dad. But apparently, because of technology now, you know, it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, the iPads, the iPhones, we're constantly on. Apparently it means we're having less sex than ever because we have iPads, right? Now, you know you're in trouble, right? Your sex life has been taken over by technology when the only reason you want his head between your legs is so you've got something to rest your iPad on. You know, it's a problem, isn't it? It's a problem when the only person talking dirty in your bedroom is Siri. But it's taken over our lives, isn't it? Children with iPads and iPhones. Did you know, like, apparently 1 in 3 children can use a mobile or a tablet before they can talk, right? So babies now no longer content with just ruining your social life and keeping you up all night. Now the little bastards are reading your emails. A third of one-year-olds, right, can unlock their parents' phones. Now, I've got a little goddaughter, right? She can send an email, sync it to a calendar, and she's doing all of this while still shitting in her own pants. It's crazy, and it's confusing for them. I think this technological world is... I gave her a biscuit the other day. She started doing that on it to try and make it bigger. The first story I want to talk to you about today is apparently it's been revealed this week that on long car journeys, parents are much more likely to give their kids iPads to play with than to play I Spy. Well, good, yeah, I Spy's shit, isn't it? If you put a kid in a car now and make them play I Spy, all they're going to spy is kids in other cars who have got iPads. That's just cruel. Do you know what? I was in a car with my godson the other day. I tried playing I Spy with him, right, but he's in the Grand Theft Auto generation. I said I Spy with my little eye, something beginning with H. First guess, hooker. But research does suggest that guessing games are good for children's brains. It's good exercise for the brain. I remember where I grew up, on the estate where I grew up, we used to play a lot of guessing games. My favourite one was Who's Your Real Dad? Yeah, some of them are still playing it, if I'm honest. Now, occupational therapists have said they're worried about kids using iPads and touchscreens and tablets all the time because they're not building up the muscles, right, that they need for writing. Well, fine, right? Writing with a pen's going to be obsolete by the time they're grown-ups, isn't it? Right? It probably also affects their ability to operate a Betamax recorder. It's about as relevant. Now, apparently, if you get a child now, right, and you ask them to ring a doorbell or point at something, they are more likely to use their thumb than their forefinger. Like, that's weird, isn't it? It's just think, like, future generations might not be able to write, but they're going to be brilliant hitchhikers. Now, I got thinking about it. I was like, come 15 or so years' time, fingering's going to be a thing of the past. We'll have to come up with a new word for it. Like, I don't know, maybe a thumbs up. I don't know. Now, the thing is, kids today, right, they're not going to know what it's like to be properly bored, are they? Give me a cheer if you were born after 1985. I mean, I'm trying not to hate you, but it's hard. Because you won't know what it's like to be properly bored. I mean, to have nothing to do, right? I mean, Sunday afternoon in the 80s as an only child, bored. Right? Even during the war, they had the constant threat of bombs dropping to keep the adrenaline up, didn't they? Right? In the 80s, on a Sunday, we had fuck all. It's raining, it's 3 hours till dinner, right? You've read every book in the house. I grew up in Maidstone. That was 2 Mills and Boons, a Reader's Digest compendium and an Argos catalogue. You finished your homework and the homework of the thick kid next door. Mum's watching some black and white shit on the telly. Dad's in the shed. Games consoles are still just a twinkle in a Japanese boy's eye. Top 40 countdown doesn't start till 4. Batteries in your Walkman are dying, right? So you carry on listening to Madonna's Like a Prayer, but it sounds like Barry White singing it. Right? And you can't replace the batteries, can you? No, because all the shops are shut. And I mean all the shops are shut, even the garage. And that is why, if you were a woman of my age, I refuse to believe you if you say you have never masturbated. Because what the hell else were you doing on a Sunday afternoon? The next story I want to talk to you about, it's a little bit sad, it's quite seasonal, it's a little bit sad, I'm sorry to have to break this to you, but the British pantomime is apparently in decline, right? It's not surprising, is it? It's not surprising that pantos are dying out, right? Because they're not relevant to savvy kids these days, are they? They don't make sense to a child today, right? Take Aladdin, for example, right? Aladdin is set in the Middle East, and it has men dressed up as women and women dressed up as men. In the Middle East. Yeah, where they're famously tolerant of cross-dressing. Hansel and Gretel is about 2 kids who get lured into the woods by a witch, right? Kids aren't going to believe that shit now unless a 70s TV presenter's involved. Pantos are all about princes and princesses, right? But they're not magical anymore, are they? Right? We've demystified the royals. Being a prince now means spending most of your life talking to vegetables and waiting for your mother to die. Being a princess means having your roots criticised, right? Both your family ones and your grey ones, and everyone in the world thinking your sister's got a better arse than you. But pantos are vital, aren't they? They're vital to our culture, I think. They're part of British culture. I mean, without pantomimes, how are we ever going to know that Christopher Biggins is still alive? And unemployment in this country is high enough, isn't it? It's high enough without adding every Z-list celebrity there's ever been to the numbers. Right? What chance do they stand in the real world? Like, what transferable skills does being in panto give you? Like, where else is it useful to be skilled in pretending you don't know what's going on right behind you? Unless you're going to be a reluctant porn star.